Hey, 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 good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio.
You good over there, Paul?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm fine. Tired, of course.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Pop's favorite day, Women's Wednesday. What's going on, Pops? Good morning, Women's Wednesday. Here we go. Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
What's going on, y'all? Hump Day. Judy Prinzer says, morning, family. How you doing, Judy? Right on. We got a lot of special guests in the house. I don't know if you guys saw the headlines already, but it is Women's Wednesday today.
Lining them up.
Yep. Once again, shout out to the radio family over there on firstskyOmaha.com. Hit the listen button if you want to hear that 24/7 celebration of black music. And of course, you guys are on listening to the show right now, so appreciate you. Let me know how the 6:30 mix went for you. Love to hear about that. What's going on, y'all? Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Leia Keister gives us a good morning. How you doing? Ron Chapman says good morning with a little sunshine. That's what's up. Rose Reviews. There they go. Pass me them things. Let's get them. How y'all feeling this morning? Thanks for getting up early with us on this Women's Wednesday, August 24th already. It's already about to be September, man. Coming up.
Final stretch of the year.
Goodness. Josh Tate says, happy hump day.
Hump day.
Chris Ignore says, good morning. How you doing? Good morning. So much to talk about today. I'm glad you guys are joining us. A lot of things I want to hear from you about. People in the chat chimers. How y'all feeling this morning? Does it feel like a Monday or a Wednesday to you?
Feels like a Wednesday.
Every day is feeling like a Monday to me. I don't know what that's about.
You've been saying that.
Mark Matter says, good morning from Louis M's. Getting my old man hamburger, steak, and eggs on. That's what's up.
Okay.
I like that the chili verde thing they got going over there. That burger lust.
I like it. What is that? What is?
It's they do like they do a little Mexican food over there at Louis M's, and they got a chili verde. It's kind of tangy, but it's really good. It's very specific. It's the only place in town that tastes like that. It's pretty good. Okay. But pretty much everything at Louis M's is good. So that's what's up. Anyway, just waking up, getting up, get up, move your body. What's happening Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. Thanks very, very much for getting on up. Christy North says, I have to work meeting at 7:30. What kind of mess is that?
Oh, man. Those usually be the email or works that could have been an email.
Man.
That meeting. Yeah, man.
I gotta have my mornings, man. That's that. I don't know. That's 7:30. Having to think about work stuff for the birds. For the birds. I wonder where that came from. For the birds, maybe.
That's
birds chirping in the morning. The morning is for the birds.
I guess. Anyway, early bird gets the worm.
Could be. It could be. You I don't think you get no worms at a work meeting though.
No.
7:30. Nobody making no money with that one.
Nah, you could have emailed that. Could have emailed
So anyway, yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us once again. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
All Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. And it's all about y'all, the chat chimers. Thanks for joining us. Really, really appreciate that. Shout out to Star Trek Rich and the Weberized crew and everybody over there at Weberized. If you have podcast ideas, definitely get them handled over there at Weberized. They are the experts there. I know we got a lot of people in the chat that want to do a little podcasting and put their voice down on some things and help continue the conversation and all that. So go check them out, Weberized. Just heard from Augie Kidd, another part of the squad there, man. He said he had a bout of COVID last week too, of his own.
Oh man.
Yeah. So we just heard about that this morning. So shout out to him. Hope he's doing all right. And if you need anything, let us know.
Yeah, get well soon.
Yeah, man. It's not good. Yep. So anyway, stay healthy, y'all. That's all we can do. Apparently there's a new strain that is like coming out of Omaha or coming out of Nebraska. I read. It's
really
a variation on a variation. Something 0.2 now or something like that. So, it's always something, but apparently it's getting milder with whatever's happening. So
yeah, we're on like the 5th generation now, 5th, 6th generation of COVID.
Time they come out with a new vaccine or something like that. Seems like there's a new strain that pops up. So
yeah. Still, stay safe, man. Monkeypox. I'm not sure. I haven't heard the news. How's that? I haven't heard too much about that. Is that spreading?
That's what I heard. There's a couple places that there's a state of emergency already. It's not Nebraska, but yeah, man. That stuff moves. Stuff be moving fast. All you can say is put your mask on, wash your hands, keep your hands out of your face, all the regular stuff, so you can try to that's what it is.
What is Paul's talking about? What is that?
The NODOCO.
What is that? I want to be in on the joke.
Yeah, let us know what that means. So anyway, welcome. How you feeling over there, buddy? How you doing this morning?
Man, tired. Not gonna lie. Burning the candle on both ends, if you will.
You gotta find some balance, brother. Find some balance.
Yeah, man. That's what it's about. So still working to find that life balance. Work hard, but also take care of yourself. Make sure you're getting rest and water, as Sister E likes to say all the time. So yeah, definitely need some rest. But we here looking forward to the day. Actually, as you mentioned, do have a few guests lined up, actually introducing a new segment this today. So excited about that. Of course, we will be politicking with P, so looking forward to that. And also we'll have Briana full on. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. Jam-packed day. So yeah, we'll get into it before then though. How you doing, Paul? How you holding up?
Yeah, hanging in there. Definitely need to get a little. I gotta try to figure out how I can incorporate some more diving into some of these things that we talk about a little bit. So I'm looking at maybe the night before, kind of digging in and looking in a little bit more thoroughly on some of these things that we're talking about, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole today just looking at some stuff like, it was about the fire. There's some fires that's been happening in North Omaha, and I saw several places where they were talking about it in different ways, and I was like, why is there always a fire in North Omaha somewhere in some abandoned building, down like by 20th or 18th, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it always happening? So I just kind of started deep, looking into it myself, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I need a little bit more time to be digging into some of this stuff. I know that we got chat chimers are going to chime up about it and talk about it, so I can't wait to put some things out there. But yeah, just interesting stuff that I'm finding out, man. More and more, the more we get into this, the more stuff starts opening up, and we start looking into things. And I'm getting really interested in checking some things out. So I need to find some time to do some deep diving. Maybe call Matt Wynn, the data guy, and see if he can dig into some things and that type of stuff. Interesting stuff.
You've been kind of the main one ringing that bell as far as asking the question of what's going on with these fires in the north side, not just the houses but the businesses, and also these strings of cars that's been running into the businesses. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in hearing what you have to say about that one. As always, interested hearing what the listeners has to say as well. That's why I really enjoy this platform, man. Again, everyone joining the conversation. As me and Paul always say, man, if it wasn't for y'all, we would just be two dudes talking on the mic, and nobody wants to see that.
There's a whole bunch of those going on already.
Nah, man. Things would not be the same without the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners, everybody, the whole community, man. So we really appreciate everybody for your support. And yeah, definitely looking forward to continuing the deep dive with some of these things and explore these topics more with our partners. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
sounds
here.
great.
We're
Pops is
here.
over here. Pops is saying no do co. So that's the new thing to say. Don't no do COVID. I guess is what he's saying. The no
Okay,
do co. I like it. I like it. Catchphrase. Got to stay away from all that.
man.
Facebook. Let's see. Miss E's got a driver. Says or no, she's driving. But Miss Erica says, "Good morning, everyone." That must be must be her son. That's typing that in. How you doing, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe driving, please. Though.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. Also, remember Miss Isa Mill Train. Just want to throw that back out there.
yeah, absolutely.
Just wanted to throw that back out there. The link is still in Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you're not familiar, sister Miss E is dealing with some health things, and that they put her on the sideline for a little bit, so she is not able to work for a stint and is preparing for surgery. So yeah, let's make sure that we're all tapping in and assisting a sister who would assist us. Again, this is all about a community, man. So we definitely appreciate all the support that we're receiving, this community that we're building. That's what it's all about, man. So yeah, definitely check it out. The meal train, assist a sister with some meals.
Yeah, we'll find we'll find that link and put that in the chat as well. Also, we say we got a good morning, everyone. Let's be positive, productive, and focus on rebuilding broken processes within the community. That's a
Okay.
very nice
Hmm.
sentiment there. Trying to see where that's coming from. Also, Carolyn
Broken
Jack gives us a good
processes.
morning, y'all, with the Purple Heart. Appreciate you very much. Speaking of which, Carolyn Jack, so we're going to get you some tickets for tomorrow. Anybody who's just trying to go to see American Son at the Benson Theater tomorrow, let me know. I have tickets for you. And
Oh,
Wanda Lewis is reminding us Miss Erica's surgery is tomorrow as well. So most
okay.
deaf.
Man, wishing the best for that. And that reminds me, Mama God called me specifically to remind me about contacting you about how to get these tickets and how to get
Oh yeah,
yeah. So yeah, again, anyone who's looking forward to going to American Son, definitely check it out. I would love to see a group of chat chimers band together and check that out.
yeah. I think tomorrow night is when I'm going to go ahead and sit through it and actually instead of run around doing stuff, I'm going to actually get there and sit through. So yeah, man. So we'll find that meal train in the chat, and go ahead and put that link in the chat so you guys can go ahead and keep on helping out. Again, she's going into surgery tomorrow. That's going to take her out for a little bit, which means she had to shut her business down. So it's kind of a double whammy there. So not
Yeah.
just food help, but also money help. Go ahead and help her pay those bills while she's going through what she's going through. We really appreciate that. You can find the information in Friends of First Sky Omaha, but we'll also dig that out and put the link in the chat as well. So that's what's up. Good morning, Blackity Black. What's happening? Thanks for joining us. It is Women's Wednesday. If you haven't heard yet, we do have some special guests in the house. Briana Fools coming in to talk
Mm-hmm.
to us about a few things. We got a new segment with Kimara Snipes. What's good in the hood? That's
Hey.
a new weekly segment that's going on. That's happening. Of course, we'll be politicking with P as well. So lots to talk about today for sure. As a matter of fact, buddy, you want to run down some of the things we're going to talk about today?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, as Paul mentioned, there were a couple fires over the uh, beginning part of this week on 20th and Ohio. A couple of abandoned buildings were on fire, and yeah, I'm definitely interested in hearing your take on this because you've been coming with a pretty interesting theory on these houses and buildings getting hit and caught on fire and things like that. So definitely looking forward to that conversation. Also, looking forward to this conversation, something that we kind of already called out, but now the Southern Poverty Law Center just released an article talking about the deal between Omaha Police Department and Tactical 88 or 88 Tactical, which is quite interesting.
Mhm.
Again,
It kind of
Looking at the $3,000 deal and swap of materials and equipment. Is there more to it? We'll definitely look into that, and then also we'll look into the continued conversation surrounding the changes of the city charter. Councilwoman says that the vote on Omaha mayor's out of town powers was a mistake. Still going about that, and again, remember that these changes, whatever the city charter and the city council decide, will be going on the November ballot. So let's keep that in mind. That is creeping up, especially as this month comes to an end. So yeah, let's definitely gear up and prepare our minds for November and these types of issues being on the ballot. And speaking of that, also sheriff's office. If you remember our conversation from Monday, we definitely got to pay attention to what's going on in the sheriff's office. There are quite some characters running for this position, and it's a lot more power than we might think or might understand with that position. A new sheriff in town. We'll see. We'll see. So again, we'll talk about that and more. We're here for the next 2 hours. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, a lot of special guests in the house. Don't touch that dial. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Let's go.
Let's do it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, thanks for joining us. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you, the chat chimers, thanks for chiming into the chat this morning. Thanks for all the ghost listeners checking us out too. Of course, if you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show so we can get as many people talking as we can. We do this live so that we can have these discussions. You can always go back later on in the day and check it out if you just want to passively observe. But we would love to have you in on the live. Stay as long as you can so we can have as many conversations as we can. Also, if you're on YouTube, thank you very much for that. We appreciate you being over there. Like and subscribe and do all that good stuff and spread the word over there too, if you would. Again, if you're on Facebook, share the show. And we're going to go ahead and jump into this Women's Wednesday that we got going on here. Wednesday, August the 24th, 2022. If you're just joining us, we're just starting the show, so you come in at the right time. Lots to talk about today, and let's go ahead and jump into. Well, first of all, before we jump into that, in the chat, Mama God says, "Hubby says no. North Omaha is notorious for fires, electrical not meeting code, homeless crouching in vacant homes, overloading electrical with window and AC units or heaters, etc. He hated working at houses north because they stay busy. Very few fires west." So it is an older part of town. You know, have been thinking about those types of things, and it's an older part of town, and all those things are very legit. I've lived in houses in North Omaha that had those exact problems. So I can understand why. And I used to walk out thinking, man, I hope hope a fire don't start while I'm gone. You know, few places. So very 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 understandable, but also strange stuff, man. There's people in the chat that have been putting it in my head a little bit, like it's kind of, I don't know about these things. Why is there so many of these fires in vacant buildings happening all over the place, like so much, while at the same time you put it together with other things like people buying up North Omaha. So like there's some thoughts there that you may need to search out. We might need to jump into this. Before we do though, Christy Norris says that SOB who owns T88 was whining in his Bennington cop car about the woke bunch. That's interesting. Mark Manor says Tactical 88 is providing security now for music venue Barrel and Vine, which is scary. Interesting. Yep. Briana Fool's on YouTube. She says, I'm on YouTube today. Good morning and see you soon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can't wait to talk to you. We've been looking forward to this for a while. So in the meantime, between time, let's go ahead and jump into something, buddy. What you got going on the plate over there?
Oh, well, I mean, you kind of piqued my curiosity, man, and set it up quite nicely. Thanks, Ma Dukes, for definitely throwing that in. Yes, my stepfather was a firefighter for quite some time, and that's quite the interesting take. Saying that again, there's just more hazards, more fire hazards in North Omaha than West Omaha. Not a surprise, but definitely something interesting to think about. And all of this again is coming from the haps that happened earlier this week. Again, Omaha Fire Department spent Monday afternoon fighting two house fires at two abandoned houses on 20th and Ohio streets. The battalion chief confirmed that one firefighter was taken to the hospital due to heat exhaustion. But again, as we like to do here, read between the lines, think things through, try to get to the nitty-gritty of situations. And this story isn't in a vacuum. It doesn't exist in itself. Again, we as we're discussing, there are seemingly a string of fires in North Omaha. And when you add in also, as I mentioned, the amount of businesses that have been hit, especially within the last 2 years or so. There's been several businesses that have been hit, especially in North Omaha, restaurants,
Mm.
abandoning buildings also being hit. So yeah, what
You
is
mean
going
hit?
on with
Like you
that?
talking about hit by cars? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Hit by
Yeah.
cars, walls collapsing, whole, parts of the building collapsing. Um, and maybe sometimes those business owners might not have the insurance or might not have what they need to replace that. So that could easily mean, another business gone in the
Mm.
community, which we don't really have much to begin with. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Definitely, Paul, would love to hear your thoughts. And of course, as always, I would love to hear the chat chime in.
Yeah, I definitely want to put it to the chat. The chat is what gave me the thoughts in the first place to that there might be more to it when you're looking at fires that are happening all over the place. It could be, the first thoughts are did these fires get happen on accident or on purpose? Could this be an insurance thing? Could it be a thing where if you put it up against a lot of the other things that are going on in the neighborhoods, with what we feel like gentrification and things are happening in other companies from other states coming and buying up places and demolishing them and then building apartment complexes up. There's a lot to think about why these things are happening. Mama Guy's comment though brought me back to a little bit of, she's absolutely right. And then of course, from firsthand information from an actual firefighter that is talking about what goes on down north, and all that stuff makes perfect sense to me. But there's still a little bit of a question about the abandoned buildings that are always getting caught on fire. Is it arson? I come from I was born in the '70s, so I went through, hearing in the '80s all about, gangs in New York that used to set buildings on fire on purpose for that because they were getting paid by development companies to burn them down and all that kind of thing. So I mean, like,
Hmm.
it's not out of the realm of possibility that some of that kind of stuff is happening here. So Wanda Lewis says it's usually in the area of interest and of development. A lot of this stuff is happening in areas getting closer down to NoDo and all that kind of stuff, and that just happens to be like where there's all these big questions about what's coming next over in these areas. And a lot of people, a lot of the owners that own stuff like down in the Capital District and stuff like that are building stuff in those areas.
Hmm.
The commons and so on and so forth. So like, it's a big question. It has to make you wonder what's going on. Miss Kimara Snipes in the house. What's going on? She says, how did that car catch on fire on 30th and Ames yesterday? Whole thing was engulfed early afternoon.
Hmm.
No, weird stuff though. Always something strange with the fires going on, and not a whole lot in other areas. So
Let me ask you this. What do you think is the effect of the fires? Like, do you think it lowers property value? Do you think it, kind of deters people from moving into the neighborhood if you come and it's a bunch of houses, all burnt to a crisp, not really the best look? What do you think the effect of something like that is?
I'm not sure, but I think that I know one time we learned how much it costs to demo a property, which it is very expensive to do. It can cost tens of thousands of dollars to just demo a property that is dilapidated some kind of way, so who knows? I mean, you know what I'm saying? If the feeling is it has something to do with trying to clear out the space to build something new, or make it easier for a developer to come in and grab the space and put something together. So uh,
Mm.
I think that's kind of like where the sentiment is going on that. Not just not sure. There's no evidence of any of this stuff. So it's like we're just talking about a feeling. We're just talking about like why is all this weird stuff always happening in our neighborhoods.
Hmm.
So and it could be from a whole bunch of different places. So that's what I say. I put it out to the chat. Say, what say you? The chat is kind of what got me going in that direction in the first place when we talked about these things months ago. They were just like, you might want to look into what's going on with all these fires. You know, Pops in the chat says it may be a combination of all the above when it comes to fires and collisions. A bad economy encourages insurance fraud, etc. Yeah, that could be insurance fraud on the you know
Mm.
behalf of the owners and stuff like that. I don't know about all these cars running in the building, so that seems like
Yeah.
I don't
Worst
know.
drivers in America.
I mean, that's what to me is like more about that than anything else. So I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? So who
Yeah.
knows? I've never heard nobody. I've never heard of so many people running into buildings in my life, but that seems to be a regular occurrence in Omaha. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I will say I'll put a couple things together because I am kind of the same mind that it may be a combination of things, and we put them all together and we'll kind of get a clearer picture, or a bigger picture of what's going on. One kind of what we can prove, again, and sticking to the facts. What Pops, my stepfather said, as far as the history of the houses in Omaha, and that makes you think of redlining and how that
Mhm.
can lead to, like, these houses in these areas were already worse off when these people moved in them, and then we know there's been a lack of investment. I mean, shout out to the reader, disinvested. We know that there's been a lack of investment in the area. So if we can prove that these houses are more susceptible to fires, are more dangerous to live in, maybe we can justify earmarking some more funds to update these houses.
Mhm. That might
Hmm.
that might be a thing to do. I,
That
I
might be a thought.
I tell you what, I like I said, I've lived in houses in North Omaha that didn't have foundations, that had electrical work that was obviously done by people who didn't know what they were doing, and it was allowed to be in that house. So it can be proven that it's an older side of town, that their houses were built before a lot of different regulations, and that makes perfect sense to me. Also, Vicky Young brings another point. She says, Oftentimes fires are started by transients who have set up camp in some of those abandoned buildings. That's something to consider too. And
Mhm.
if you're setting up camp, if you're transient setting up camp in an abandoned building in the wintertime, you putting the fire together for something, because
Definitely.
there's no heat in that house. So, there's a lot, but there's also a lot of this other stuff. It can't be passed up that they're in areas that people are interested in doing development with.
Mm. And also, I was gonna say that, and this is my last point. We can jump to the chat. Just to bring in the situation that happened with Brother David Mitchell. It is not, if you caught an update of that, he's put out some text messages and some kind of concrete proof, that, again, the whole hoopla of him trying to break in that business was staged. So I say that to say that there are individuals in the community who would love to see a brother not have a business, or would love to see somebody on the north side not succeed business wise. So is it far-fetched to believe that there'll be characters or actors in the community that might want to sabotage something like that on the north side? No.
Mm. Yeah, lots of things to consider. Definitely throw your ideas in the chat. We'll keep on talking about it. Keep on keeping an eye on things like that. This is just another way that we're trying to keep an eye in on our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Another way to do that is what Brother Terrence Hayes did. Wanda Lewis says, "Did you see that Terrence Hayes shared a post? A house on 21st and Emmett was recently sold for $925,000, almost $1 million home on 21st and Emmett being sold.
Think
Uh,
about that too.
what's the ramifications of that? What does that exactly mean out here for sure?" Jimmy Light is in the chat saying, "Yo," he says, where is he at? There he is. He gives us the Facebook post, the Facebook link to the Ernest Jackson page. Of course, we've been talking about Ernest Jackson for a minute. We always are saying to free him because he's in jail under some circumstances that probably he should not be, of course, and
Right.
so there's a big movement to get him out. So we want to make sure that we remind people about that. So go to that page, that link there that Jimmy Light put it in the chat, and read about what's going on and what we can do to help try to get Ernest Jackson out for sure. Mama God in the chat says, neighbors, please ensure vacant homes are secure to deter curious kids and homeless folks. For sure. From Vicky Young said, we already talked about her chat there. Pop says, I drove into a building when I was in Omaha. Maybe it's in the water.
Oh man. Oh man.
Pops, what? I didn't know that. That's funny. Okay, I don't know what's going on, man, but I've never seen it before in my life. Wanda Lewis says, and they never catch anyone, and no one ever gets hurt when cars are running into these buildings.
Yeah, it very, very peculiar. Very peculiar. I will
funny.
say
that. Thanks for all your comments, man. We're gonna keep on talking about it. Wanda Lewis says, if you can't afford to demo burn out property, the city will do it in exchange for parcel land. Okay, interesting. So yeah, don't worry about all that. Hit the city up with that. We got a lot of guests coming on today, and I just saw one of them popped on in, and we're gonna bring her in. Of course, we are politicking with P. Miss Precious McKesson in the house. How you doing this morning?
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
I'm good.
I like you. You always come with the best shirts. I love being black too.
Yeah. That caught my attention as well.
It's kind of dangerous, but it's dope.
Okay, hey, it's the bottom. It just gets better the further you go down. It's like, oh, whoa.
I love it.
Yeah, shit's kind of dangerous, but it's dope.
Man, I'm gonna have to get your shirt plug. I'm gonna have to figure out where you getting these.
That's what's up. What's going on with you today?
Oh my gosh, I have like this. I don't know if it's just these allergies is kicking my butt.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, just not a happy camper this morning. I thought I had 20 more minutes to sleep. I was mad.
Yeah, I did too. You know, kind of happens that way.
Y'all better get up. I don't want to hear it. Y'all better get up. Hey, so of course we're gonna be politicking with P here today. If you got any questions for Precious, definitely put them in the chat. We love having you on. You always make the day exciting, so we really appreciate you getting up early and dealing with the sinuses. I had to get up about 5 in the morning and pop an allergy pill myself because I was like, it's going down today. I can feel it.
Yeah, well, see, I take these melatonin. Well, it's not my melatonin, but I take these natural things so I can sleep. And so when I got up like 3 o'clock, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to take it. I was still groggy, and I was like, I'm gonna get me on these Ricolas, and I'm gonna be good. But then I said, then I told myself a minute. I said, when I get done, I'm taking me a Zyrtec because I can't be having this.
Yeah.
And then go to Starbucks and go give me a medicine ball before I go to Lincoln.
What is that?
It's a drink. You got to ask for it as a medicine ball. You got to ask them for the medicine, but it's a hot tea. And it's with steamed lemonade, honey, mint. Is really good. And but you just gotta ask for it. Just say I want a medicine ball.
You can throw some whiskey in there and make it a hot toddy. Then if it's all like that,
all you need.
Tell them
That's all you really need. That's all you need.
Medicine ball at Starbucks. I never heard of it.
That's a new one. Okay.
It's around. Just Google it. A good barista will know what you're talking about. They're not even gonna ask you, but they're gonna say, "Okay, I got you."
Give you a wink and a nod, like.
Or they'll come back and say, "Oh, we don't have this tea. Can we switch it for the jade citrus?" And you say, "Yes, you can."
Okay. Hey, either sounds quite nice.
I like it. I'd like to have some of that right now. It sounds good.
Yeah, man. Coming with the ordering tips and tricks. Okay, I like that. What else you got for us? What's new?
Well, first of all, what do you think about these fires in North Omaha? What's your take on that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Well, I was reading the comments, and it's like it's a lot of it. Like Vicky Young said, we have a lot of transients, but normally we see the spark like this with transients in the wintertime, not in the summertime.
Right.
You see a lot of fires because normally they're trying to keep warm. But Yeah, it's kind of odd that these fires are happening, and most of these are abandoned houses, right? So I haven't
Yes.
really looked at it much. Yeah, so it's like
It's fun. It is
we're
weird.
trying to get that property.
Right. I can't help but go there with it. Look, it was two. First of all, the first part of the news said it was a building out there on 20th in Ohio. So I started looking at the map. I didn't really see a building, but it was kind of a building that had like two family homes in it, and it was
Mhm.
abandoned. So there was no electricity on. It wasn't like it was sparked electricity fire. Nobody was hurt. Nothing happened to nobody. So I don't know. Nobody was in it. How is it just all of a sudden just catch fire? Like,
Yeah. Yes,
You
it's
know,
you like I said, you normally don't see the fire spark when you're talking about our homeless population when they're trying to stay warm. Things it will happen,
right.
but now you're talking about in certain areas. I mean, hopefully somebody's looking into that. I mean, because it could be the fact that again, the city not tearing them down fast enough, or but sometimes they feel realize that those houses, even if they're caught on fire, they'll stay up for a long time until somebody, even with a danger sign saying don't trespass, until somebody really forces the hand of whoever owns that property to tear that building down. But then we got to watch for our kids. See, as kids are going back to school, we got to watch for those babies who get intrigued by little neighborhood kids like, oh y'all, let's go in this house and see what they got in there. We got to make sure that we're as neighbors are watching that, because again, anything could happen. Kids can get hurt, kids can get trapped, kids can fall through these floors, that because these houses have been abandoned for so long. So it's very interesting to see all these fires popping up, but hopefully the fire department are using the sources, since they use so much city money, and looking into it.
Very
That's my
true.
shade comment for the day.
Just throw that in there. Throw that
Wait a
jab in
minute.
there.
Only one? You better quit. You better.
I got a few.
I was gonna say, remember who you're talking to. I know you got more than one.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you? What is it that we should be looking into right now? What's happening
Well, politically, right now, I mean, today, announcement will come from President Biden on student loan forgiveness. I'm hoping that it's more than $10,000. I saw an interesting quote yesterday from Bakari Sellers, and I gotta read this because it was so true. It was like it was so true what he said, and he said, let me go find this quote because here it is. He said, watching people who got their PP loans forgiven complain about student loan forgiveness is rich.
Oh my goodness.
These same people who got millions of dollars forgiven are mad because it's a possibility that student
You might
loan
get $10,000 off it, right?
I honestly think it should be more than 10,000.
Hopefully.
Because again, we go back to the highest amount of debt that is accrued by student loans is by Black women. That's the highest amount. I'm not saying it should be because it should be based off race, but when we look at it, when you talk about the forgiving 10,000, we're still trying to fight to be able to get equal pay and to get, and there's people with degrees who still Black women who still come in lower than their counterparts.
Right.
So I mean, but like they said, if Biden can cancel 10, he can cancel more than that. They just showed you he can cancel these student loans.
Right.
Who's blocking it? But we know, I mean, it's a channel, it has to go up. So we'll see what happens today on the announcement. 10,000, cool, but I think you need a little bit more. I think you need a little bit more, to happen. Especially it's strategic. We have midterms. Some Democrats had some key wins last night. Some in Florida took out some other Democrats. Got some Republicans. I mean, it's moving, but again, just watch what happens in the next 70 days, how it moves, because that's when elections are coming up. Midterms are going to hit November 8th. So again, he can do more.
Boy, I sure hope that somebody get that fool out DeSantis out there in Arizona. I hope they get that fool.
He's in Florida.
That's Florida.
Yeah, so he does have an opponent. There was 2 Dems that were running against him, and I think the other guy last name is Chris. I think it is.
Chris,
Yeah, I think he was a former governor, but he was a former Republican also, and then went to independent, then went Democrat. So
yeah, actually, Chris was a governor while I was living in Florida. I remember, or it was like right before I got to Florida, Chris had just stopped being governor. So yeah. I'm not sure if that's the best, the best replacement.
And it's crazy. I haven't read much on him, but it was kind of different. Not saying odd, well, kind of odd because you've never seen someone who's already been governor as a Republican turn around and be Republican as a Democrat. So I think at this point it was kind of like he has the values of the Democratic Party in some ways, and so he came in and he beat the woman who was running against him, like at least 300,000 votes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leah Keiser's in the chat. She's over on YouTube. She says, "Do you think he will push?" Talking about Biden. Do you think he will push GOTV so he can eliminate more?
I mean, yeah, he'll push get out the vote. He's already doing stuff. He's going to Maryland, I think today or tomorrow, and he's doing a public forum for a guy, African American who's running for governor in Florida. I mean, in Maryland, and they're doing a public event. So I mean, he's about to start hitting the ground, either him or people from his administration, to really start pushing out the get out the vote efforts. So again, just watch what's going to happen in the next 70, well, about 74 days away, I think it is now. Just start watching what's going to take place. Because again, we got, number one, I'll just say I don't like don't play with people's emotions just because they get the votes. Because I always tell people, Black folks are not your break in case of emergency vote. Don't play us like that. And I stick by that. I don't care who it is. I stick to that. Don't play in our face, for real. And when you're talking about needing our vote, make sure you're taking care of us, because there's things that a lot of things are said during campaign season, and then we gotta sit there and be like, what's up, bud? What's up, bro? Like, so yeah.
She says, I meant to push to get more Dems in so we can eliminate more debt. So more than the $10,000.
What she's asking is he going to push more so we can get more Dems elected so we can have the majority, and then we can eliminate. Yeah, you can do that, but I mean, we got good Dems in there now. We got a good number that we could do it. But I think you're right. We do need to push more in there, have more in there so we can have a majority and be able to push that, especially in the House and in Congress.
I think she might be wondering what I'm wondering too. Like, is he talking about this $10,000, number so low because of the fact that he's got so much to battle, and that's why he's not going to ask for more? Because I feel like he's going to say yes, we'll do it, but 10,000. That's what I think is going to happen.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know their strategy. I do know that I look at it when they say, oh, well, the Biden administration has already canceled so much debt and so much in loan forgiveness. But again, that's good and dandy that you did this. We know that billions and billions of dollars have been forgiven to schools that, like ITT Tech, all these different schools who are taxing, public service loan forgiveness. They were able to go back and really help people who have been paying student loans. And the public service loan forgiveness was the formula was messed up, so people were actually eligible, and they had to come back. And then people got refunds. Like, there was people that got thousands of dollars of refunds because the formula was never calculated right. So yes, we see that, but we still don't see where when President Biden ran, he was running, he said he was going to cancel student loan debt. That was something he ran on.
Right,
he definitely did.
And so I don't care with me being saying it. I have a right to say it because he said it. It's not like I'm making up. It came out of his mouth that he was going to cancel it. So we'll see what happens. Honestly,
if I'm not mistaken, early on we heard figures like $20,000 and $50,000. So yeah, this 10 is like, come on now.
And this 10 is like if somebody borrows some money from you, they don't give you back your whole time.
Right. You got my money. I got $1.
Let me give you what I got on me.
I'm gonna be grateful, and I think the threshold is 125,000. You make less than 125,000. So yeah, I'm like, Biden, y'all playing. We loaned you 40. We loaned you We loaned you 4. We gave you 4 years. You only giving us 10 back. Come on now, bro.
In the chat, Ms. Erica Fell says Black women are the highest educated group per capita than any other, so naturally there's more debt in the demographic. Yeah, so I could definitely see that. Mama God says the current criteria is less than 150,000 household income. So if that means if you make less than 150,000, you qualify for
it's 125, less than 125.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Like that, my prediction though is that he was softening the blow by telling us $10,000 early. I think that's all that's gonna happen. So we'll see. We will see.
And remember, it's you have everybody always remember it's not just the president who has to make this decision. So he does have senior advisors who are advising him. And there are certain people who just feel, and who's a part of his administration who feel like no, they shouldn't be forgiving student loans. And I remember having a conversation. And somebody had said, it was, when I was in the Department of Education, they said, oh, well, there's certain people who don't feel that we should cancel student loan. And I looked at them and I said, oh, really? I said, and some of these people are part of history of where their parents or whoever have been like the founders of the Pell Grant. So their parents believe in helping the poor. So help the poor. Thank you. And kept it moving. And I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your title is. Senior advisor to the president, whatever. You know what he said when he was running. So you better hold him to that. Because the people who voted, and as an elector, part of the 306, I'm going to hold you to that. Cancel that student loan debt, sir. Please and thank you. And I will accept all my invites to come visit.
Man.
I hear that.
Hold that feet to the fire. Hold it to the fire. And I am curious. So is this something that can be done through like executive order, or is this something that has to go through Congress?
I don't know how. I mean, he can do executive order. I mean, it could be done through executive order, but I mean, it's like you kind of, you don't want to rock the boat like that. You don't want to, you at least want to have everybody's input. But you do have key people like Elizabeth Warren, Warnock. I'm trying to think who else. Senator Sanders. Like you have people. Oh, excuse me. Me and my cough drop. You have people who have really been very much so instrumental in this and very vocal in having meetings and talking about this.
Yeah, what I was always thinking too is we talk about you're part of the Democratic Party. I'm independent, but I do, and I kind of feel what I feel about the Democratic Party is that they are also about that money and about keeping that order when it comes to those types of things. They don't always say just eliminate the whole thing either. There's a whole lot of Democrats in there. They're saying, nah, I don't know if we can do that. Let's maybe a little bit, just like everybody else is talking about. So that's kind of reason why I feel like he's got this uphill battle with asking for a certain amount. I don't even know if he believes it'll be wiped all the way out.
Well, I mean, I feel like if they continue to give these large corporations these tax cuts, why can't they give them the middle class and the poor and the different people who are actually working to bring in these cuts? So quit, I mean, at the end of the day, quit giving these corporations these big tax cuts, and then we're still sitting out here struggling.
Well, but that's because middle class and poor people are the ones that are funding all these big companies in the first place. Like that's just how capitalism works,
Yeah. But it's like so I'm gonna need them to go ahead and give us a break too. Shit, I mean, shoot, we need a break too.
Vicky Young says exactly. We appreciate that. Mama God says plus mothers are often single and responsible for plus loans and repayment.
That would be I, Captain. Even though Taylor received what she received for school, I'm still responsible for the room and board, the books, the meal plan, and that's $11,000 or more in fees. That's about, if you do it, that's like $15,000 a semester. So yes, that Parent Plus loan comes in handy to be able to help, and that's the thing in order for me to keep my kid from having debt, I had to go into the Parent Plus loan so that I can ensure that she doesn't have debt when she comes out. So now on top of my student loans, now have her Parent Plus loans. So that's that's a lot, and I don't think some people don't understand, like parents are still paying not only for their education, but paying for their kids' education. And especially now where parents don't want their kids to be going through the same thing that we're going through right now. We're trying to make sure that they're going to school debt free, So just imagine, I just imagine every day if she would have had to pay for all tuition, we would be like in serious debt, because of that. So very blessed to be only a minimum, but I don't want my kid to have no college debt,
Yeah. And honestly, we take out these loans for that kind of living expenses because we need them, where other people don't have to do that a lot. So, yeah, we got to factor that in. It ain't just if you can get a full ride, but still have to a whole bunch of money that you got to pay out in order to just go to school.
Right. So you're still gotta have living, because what will happen is that you have no money to live off of. So then you got to go work, and then now you're trying to say, okay, do I want to study at this big school? I'm at this really good school. I'm getting this education, but I don't have money to be able to buy necessities or things I need. So now they're working. Now they're taking away from getting that education and being able to go to college and be able to have stress free. So it's like it's a double-edged sword. It's not fair to them,
Yeah.
They gotta live. Many kids don't come with people parents just throw money in their account and be like, oh, you're good, they don't come from that, And I have to remind my daughter every day, look, you coming from a working class mama, so just remember that when you at Creighton.
Right. Not everyone's mom name is Felicity Huffman.
Look,
yeah.
You gonna ride that little Camry until you graduate from med school. Don't even look at getting nothing.
Man.
Carolyn Jack in the chat says, right, full ride doesn't cover everything.
Yeah.
Miss E says, my mother died owing what she called the student loan police.
Man.
I always say this. There's two organizations in the government who gonna get their money: the IRS and the student loans. And that's sad that people literally die on the government, the IRS, and student loans.
I think a whole bunch of people's eyes were open when President Obama was sitting there as president talking about he just got done paying off his student loans. A lot of people's eyes got open with that. Wanda Lewis says, my brother sent both of his children to college and wanted them to be debt free. When they finished college, he owed over $200,000.
That could be crippling debt. And how do you expect people to mobilize upwardly with that type of debt hanging over their heads? And then also taking consideration, you can go to these schools, get these degrees, and still have to work at Burger King after you get out, because the job situation is what it is. I had to go through some things as far as working for free to actually pursue something in my degree, in my field. And still doesn't always pay the best, but make it make sense. Definitely when you take into consideration housing.
Because at the end of the day, when we look at these student loans, we take out the student loans, and normally 9 times out of 10, and I'll just say, for instance, with me, we don't make enough to pay those student loans, so we end up putting those loans into some type of deferment, or some type of income-based repayment plan, but they're still accruing interest. So at the end of the day, you're tripling it to owe the government. So if anything, I'll be honest with you, if anything, go wipe out all our interest. Wipe out that interest that's accrued since we got those student loans, and I'll be good. I'll pay them suckers. Make them suckers interest free, and wipe out all the interest. Oh, I'll pay my student loan in, but until you got interest on there, it's gonna stay in there. I'm gonna stay broke.
Well, Precious, you got Biden's hotline. Go and call him up, tell him to do it.
Nah, make it happen. And I have, on that note, heard of some loan companies going under and getting in hot water, and being on the hot seat for some of these predatory interest rates, and how they're going about selling off some of these loans to third party corporations that didn't really have anything to do with the initial loan promissory note. So it's a lot to it.
Yeah, but the interest rates are and this thing, interest rates are determined by the Department of Education, or by the government. So that's how your interest rates on your student loans are determined. So like when I was doing Taylor's Parent Plus loan, it was like, okay, this is what the student loan is currently right now, what the interest rate is. This is what it'll be. It's different. They do this, but again, I promise you, if they go and wipe out that interest, you'll see a lot of people be like, "Whoo,
that's real." That's we got no other thing going on in life.
Your mom said, wipe out the 11,000 of interest and give me that 10,000 on that principal. I'll take that too.
Now that might be something.
I was gonna say that's the only situation in our life that we are that happens with, and it doesn't happen in credit card debt, doesn't happen in any other kind of debt. Student loan debt is the only one that you can go into deferment, which we all know that word because of this. Because I sure didn't even know what deferment meant
I didn't know what deferment was until I had some student loans, baby.
Right. So I mean, we had to learn the whole language and everything. So when that happens, and then your interest is still accruing, and you can end up owing double, triple. That doesn't happen anywhere else, but in the education system, which is ridiculous.
And at the end of the day, they've never gotten paid. I mean, yeah, some people have paid their student loans, and kudos to you. Kudos to you if you paid your student loans off. But me, I don't have to do it. But again, they know that these student loans have all this interest accruing. They know that they'll never get this money. The world has we have still been able to continue to live. They've been continued. The government has not shut down because they don't have enough money. Don't get rid of that interest. It's not, y'all ain't even been looking for it. Just don't get rid of it. Y'all don't need it.
A couple minutes left here. We got in talking to you, Josh Tag. I just want to jump in the chat. He says mine repayment period started in 2008 when new graduate salaries basically froze in my field. Talking about the recession that happened there. Still paying it off to this day. I'm happy no one can take my degree away, but I gave up on a good bit of freedom this past 15 years after I graduated. Was it worth it?
It's a good question.
Tamika Johnson says, once the loan is sold, it is no longer a government loan. It's now private. The question is, will private student loan holders get any relief?
So it's not that it's private. Your loans go then to a loan servicer who are basically contracted through the government to service those loans. So that's how you get to the Nail Nets, the Sally Mae, the Great Lakes. I'm trying to think who else. It might just be them right now.
So they didn't sell those loans. Those loans, they just use the services.
There's a loan servicer, so they basically service your loan. So, like for instance, when I did my Parent Plus loan for Taylor, I applied through that loan through the U.S. Department of Education, and then they then give that loan then is given to a portfolio is given to another organization to manage the loans for them. But then you have Fed loans. So some loans are still in underneath the Fed loan, just depending based on what kind of loan it is. But those companies are serviced through the Department of Education. Because before I even got into politics, I worked at NailNet. And so I worked in the default student loan department. And so that's how we determine you get those portfolios sent over to them. So all of those loans will be eligible because you still have to go through the Department of Education they have to follow the rules of the Department of Education in order for you to get onto the loan repayment plans. Even with loan forgiveness, even though your loan is through NailNet, or I'm just giving myself an example, I still have to apply through the public service loan forgiveness through the Department of Education, through the government.
Right.
I say through the Department of Education, and then that's how they. So yeah, they still control it. And then if you ever want to know like how much you like have like sitting out there and knowing like where your loans came from, go to the National Student Loan Database, and you're able to log in, and that's going to tell you a history of all of your loans. That'll tell you where they're at right now, where they originated from, where they went back from. So just make sure you go and you can actually track where your loans and stuff have been and where they're at, and you can see where they originally started at, the original amount, and you can see how much the interest came over those years. But it's the National Student Loan Database.
Okay. National Student Loan Database. We'll have to look into that. Mama Guy says, right, Precious. As a matter of fact, you can go to the federal website to manage the loan, but if your loan was originally private, it is not eligible to forgive.
Yeah.
So wow, that's all these hoops, man, all this stuff. Like it makes me wonder. Like Josh Tate says, is it worth it? Is it worth it in the end? Sometimes on that, especially if you're studying in a field that doesn't really pay much in the first place. So
yeah.
That's a big problem. We got a few minutes left before, as a matter of fact, we're 1 minute before 8 o'clock. So we're getting ready to jump into the second hour here with First Sky Omaha in the morning. If you're just joining us, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. We are politicking with P right now. Precious McKesson, history making P is what we call her, and we really appreciate everybody who has jumped into the chat and is talking and asking questions and everything else. If you got more questions, definitely let her know. And before we get out of here with you, give us some what's on your mind besides this, besides Biden's announcement that we need to be looking into.
So we have sent out about within the last 2 weeks, we have sent out about 58,000 vote by mail cards across the state. So if you receive, and we're targeting voters who may have didn't request it. So if you get a card in the mail telling you request your ballot, because this is sent to Democrats, make sure you're filling out that card and request that ballot so you can request your ballot by mail. We're trying to make sure that people know that, you can get that ballot. Ballots will start going out in October, and then you can start voting early. But just make sure, if you get that, you use that card, excuse me, to request your ballot, and just make sure that you are looking at what's going on, watching the candidates, asking candidate questions. This is a critical midterm. Like this is very, very important. As you see, the people are saying what they're coming for. Like, I mean, people are not shying away of what they want to do if they get into office. We'll just make sure that we're exercising that right and making sure that you can be able to show up at the polls on November 8th.
Is this the card that you're talking about right here? Is this the one with the early ballot?
So that's the one that came from the Douglas County Election Commission. If you get that card, that means that you're on the permanent vote by mail list. So you need to let them know that you still want to receive your ballot by mail. So make sure you fill that out. If for some reason you don't fill out that card, you will then have to vote in person. But if you did request to be on the vote by mail list, that card is basically confirming that you want your ballot by mail, and so make sure you send that card back into the Douglas County Election Commission office so that you can receive your ballot early before the November 8th election.
Okay, so that's not the card you guys were sending out, though, right? That you said that's
ours is different. Ours is more of it's like a trifold, and you can tear it off, and you can still request an early ballot. But those are people who are not on we sent ours to people who are not on the permanent vote by mail list, because we don't want to do double work. So we don't want to cross over. People who are on that vote by mail list, we did not send it to them because they already are on the list to receive theirs permanently.
And what is the deadline to send that in? Do you know?
You would ask me that. Look, and yesterday somebody just asked me, like, Precious, why don't you have that on your computer? And I was like, because I have enough stuff on my computer, so I'm going to put that on my computer. I will put it in the chat.
Okay.
But definitely, I will get that on. Paul, it's on yours. Paul, look at your card. It says it on there. On that card you just had.
What are we
asking? You got to turn that in by.
Yeah, when is the due date?
On look on the inside. Did you open it up yet?
I did, yeah.
It might say it might say you have until October.
Okay, I guess I didn't. Hold on. I'm gonna rip it on up here. Hold on. All right, let's see. The deadline to return this card is Friday, October 28th at 6 p.m.
October 28th. So get those cards in early, because then you'll get, because even though they start putting out the ballots, I think the ballots start going out on the 8th, if I'm not mistaken. You still can turn that in, and you'll be in the round of getting your ballots and stuff. So make sure you are getting that in. Just make sure you're voting. I mean, I can't stress enough. And don't just vote the top of the ticket. You need to go all the way down that ballot. That ballot, it has so many offices that are running. So make sure you're voting up and down the ballot, not just the top. Flip it over, vote all the way, please and thank you. I would appreciate it, because I think we have good people out here, and we want to make sure that we're getting good people into office.
Not just elected officials, but also the issues. I remind you that the charter, the city charter changes, whatever is approved, will be going to the ballot as well in November.
Yeah. So October 3rd is when ballots will start being mailed out. October 3rd, and it's kind of sad, that we'll have issues on there. I have not heard the announcement yet if voter ID has made it yet. I know they did announce that the medical marijuana petition did not make it to the ballot.
Right.
But we'll see if any other issues, minimum wage, I think is one, as well as the voter ID. So we'll see if those make on there. And we want to make sure that we're voting no to voter ID, and make sure that we'll look at that question and see how that question is worded, because we know that when they did the death penalty years ago, they changed that question around and it confused a lot of people. And a lot of people were voting yes when it actually was supposed to be voting no, because they thought by voting yes it meant no, when actually no. It was weird how they worded it.
I remember that.
We want to make sure we'll be educating and making sure we let people know how that's worded and how to vote on that. So again, we have some stuff that's coming up, and you'll see a lot of ads coming out. You'll see a lot of people giving false information on other people. Just make sure that you're doing your due diligence and making sure that you are researching the candidates and know that it's time for change. No matter what they say, oh, Nebraska's a red state. No, we can make this a blue state. We can make this a purple state. Let's make change, because obviously it's not working for us what we have currently going on right now.
Right.
Well said. Thanks for coming.
Thank y'all.
Always. You have a good one too. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.
Right. Oh man. Always with the good messages coming from Ms. Precious McKesson. We politic with P. Thanks so much for that. For everybody in the chat that participated there. It's 8:06 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we do have a guest waiting in the wings. We'll take a quick break and let that guest come on through. Stay tuned for Briana Full up next. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Are y'all grooving yet? Man, so many things in the chat. People were talking about, they kept talking about these properties and these fires. Go back and definitely check out the chat a little later on in the show, because there's a lot of good conversations going on about all the subjects we've been talking about this morning. But right now, it's 8:07. If you believe in the concept of time, we're going to bring in our special guest, Briana Full, in the house. How are you this morning?
Hello. Can you hear me
Hello.
okay?
I can hear you fine. Is the trash man done?
Yeah. I'm doing good. Didn't get great sleep last night, but what's new? So
join the club.
Right.
I don't know what it is, Paul. I don't know, man. I'm trying to tell you.
You just take your tail to bed. That's what it is. So I don't want to hear y'all grown. Go to bed.
Hey, I went to bed early, but I'd be waking up. So
yeah. I'm on that too. I wake up every couple of hours now, so that's basically for a hard morning sometimes.
But we appreciate you. We appreciate you fighting through it and joining us this morning. For those who might not know, we are on the line with Miss Briana Full, chat chimer, very active chat chimer. Thank you. So definitely a part of the community, part of the family here. But also in her free time, she works with Spark CDI and Fabric Lab, and then also is running for OPS school board. So definitely looking forward to talking about all the things that you have going on. I don't know, what do you want to start? I know we were having some conversation about what's going on with Fabric Lab and Spark. Can you kind of give some background on that?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of the North Omaha recovery plan and all that money going to North Omaha, and kind of the process of how that's been happening and who's been in charge of it ever since, Olson got the contract to kind of develop the criteria and do more for that project. So I've been involved with this legislation since the very beginning. As you know, I worked at the legislature for Senator Carol Blood for a while. And so I was in the thick of it when all this stuff was happening. And I just feel like really privileged and glad that I was able to kind of witness that stuff firsthand, because the whole process was like confusing and messy. And so it's just nice to be in that space and kind of know what's going on. So I've been there from the very beginning. And then when I took on this new role with Spark, Spark was actually involved with it as well in a couple of different ways. So we do lots of advocacy around housing, and obviously in this LB 1024 money, there is allocations going towards affordable housing. But like, what does that really mean? I think we ask that question all the time.
Every day, it seems like.
Every day. And it's a valid question. So doing some advocacy around, how are we going to get more affordable housing in North and South Omaha? And also, the public engagement process of how this plan is going to be developed and how this money is going to be divvied out. Spark has played a little bit of a role in that as well. So when Olson actually got the contract, they invited Spark to kind of just, connect them with who they needed to be connected to, because obviously Olson doesn't have all the answers. Spark doesn't have all the answers either, but that's why Olson invited like many different people to kind of get their feedback. So, I was really in the room telling these people who the stakeholders were. I know, Buddy, you had lots of questions about, who are these stakeholders? What are we talking about? And so I wanted to make sure that, the people that I saw doing work in the community were going to be represented in this public participation process to decide where this money was going to go. So that's kind of, what I wanted to talk about. And it sounded like, there were some questions around that. So if you have, any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Yeah. That's absolutely. We'll put it to the chat too. If you have any questions on that, we would love for you to put those questions in the chat. We'll go ahead and ask her some of these things. Some of the things that are on top of my mind about it definitely have to do with the outreach that is happening. What can you tell us a little bit about what exactly is happening with these organizations and how they are outreaching to the community? Have they been working with neighborhood associations at all? What's been actually happening?
Are you talking about Olson?
Well, but Olson and Spark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Spark tries to incorporate the neighborhood associations whenever possible. I was the one who threw out Kimara's name when Olson asked, who do we need to be talking to? And I said, yeah, you need to be talking to these neighborhood associations. I'm the one who said Kimara Snipes. I'm the one who said Precious McKesson. Like, those names weren't on the list, which kind of surprised me and worried me. But that's why we were there. Because, obviously these organizations have blind spots. And so, yes, we tried to, incorporate the neighborhood associations and get them into the places where they need to be, because they're so important. And I've said that from the very beginning. Like, neighborhood associations are kind of, where you start when you want to go get involved in your neighborhood, just like regular people. So I thought that was, a good avenue to go down. But yeah.
Right on. In the chat, real quick. First of all, Leia Keister's over on YouTube. She's saying, "Hey, good to see you, Briana. Appreciate you reaching in through the YouTube channel. Appreciate that very much." We got questions coming up. Vaughn Chapman says, "Is Spark composed of North Omaha stakeholders?" Number one.
Is Spark composed of North Omaha stakeholders? I would say yes. Ever since I was brought on board, I would consider myself a North Omaha stakeholder. I am very invested in what happens, and I'm obviously, running for office in North Omaha. I kind of have to keep those two hats separate, but, obviously I am a big stakeholder. There's also Brittany Parker, the boxer. I don't know if you're aware of her, but she was born and raised in North Omaha. She's on the Spark team. She talks about her lived experiences every day at the office and kind of, how that affected her and her family, and how we're going to get past it and how we're going to get Black people a leg up and get them, you know, ahead in life. So I love having Brittany because she has a lot of really good things to say about her lived experience. You know, we have Manny Cook. He works at the Fabric Lab. He's a part of Spark. Clarice Dombeck, she's basically like Manny's assistant, and she was born and raised in North Omaha. So, I mean, a lot of the people who work at Spark were born and raised there and have a huge interest in what happens. Like, I remember Clarice was telling me about Coons Park being, you know, renovated, and how that's where she went when she was a kid, and this has been needed for the longest time. And so I would say that, yeah, we are very invested in what happens, and we are, you know, personally individual stakeholders of North Omaha.
Right on. Wanda Luce is asking a question. I'm wondering too. We always talk about follow the money here. So who pays the salary for those employed at Spark? Where do they get their funding for these projects they take on? And then kind of amendment to that question for me is what about the leadership of Spark? Who is involved in the leadership of Spark? If you can answer those.
So Spark funding comes from a couple different places. You can go online and it's open information. It's not like a secret or anything, but our funding comes from a couple different places. It comes from like private philanthropies. It comes from the government, comes from the city. It comes from a couple of different places. And so we don't get our funding from just like one place, but you can go online and look at exactly like the percentage makeup of kind of where we get our money from. And it's the same for the projects. So we get our money from all those different places. And you said the leadership. So
yeah, not just the leadership, but like how does Spark, who's behind creating Spark in the first place, and who's the leadership there? That's kind of what I'm wondering.
So our founder was a Black woman, I believe. And no, it was a Black man, but he came from out of town. And so it was, you know, we're not very easy on our out of towners trying to come in and tell us what to do with our community. And so we didn't make it too easy on that person. And so Jamie Berglund actually stepped in. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she comes from the Omaha Chamber. She was there for a while, but obviously she kind of saw the things that were happening at the chamber, and they weren't conducive with, you know, getting rid of racism and white supremacy, and trying to navigate that world when you feel like such a deep obligation to address those things. So it just wasn't, you know, her place at the chamber. So she had been working with this man who founded Spark, and, you know, ultimately took over after that person wasn't able to play that role anymore. And so Jamie Berglund has been the ED. I think that she definitely acknowledges her white privilege, white supremacy, is actively working to kind of dismantle those systems, even in our own organization, because you can't really address these things out in the community when your own organization is struggling with white supremacy. So she definitely acknowledges that, and I appreciate it, and it's why I'm on the team. I wouldn't be there if that wasn't the case, because I don't deal with that. Like, it doesn't sit well in my soul. So yeah, I think the leadership team, they are white women, which I am, you know, I will say that. And we have addressed it within our own organization, and we're actually talking about, do you know what Inclusive Communities does? They kind of have like 2 EDs. So we're talking about maybe like a makeup like that or something, because we acknowledge it, they acknowledge it, and they don't want that because they know that's not best for the community. So, you know, I feel comfortable working there, knowing that we are doing the work as an organization to dismantle our white supremacist ideals.
Right on. Who is considered a stakeholder? Is it residents or investors? Do they consider nonprofit stakeholders as well?
I would say anybody who has a vested interest in the quality of North Omaha neighborhoods or the community and the people there and their welfare, In my eyes, that is a stakeholder. So that can be residents, that can be, businesses that are in the area, that can be nonprofits who do a lot of work there. We can't really silo one group and say, yeah, you're the stakeholder. It's like we're all in this together, and we can't do it without everybody on board. And so in my eyes, all of those people are stakeholders.
You're saying in your eyes, but in the way that Spark deals with the public, and does Spark as an organization, and the other organizations that you mentioned too that are involved in trying to figure out where this money is going, do they also consider everybody you just said a stakeholder?
Yes, definitely. And we do our own programming to build the capacity of all of those individual people. So like we try to build the capacity of our residents and their ability to community organize in their neighborhoods. We do capacity building around emerging developers who come from the North and South Omaha community, so they can build up their own community and they don't have outsiders coming in and building up their neighborhoods when, they don't necessarily have a say in it. And we also partner with other nonprofits, especially with our housing initiatives. Like we were the ones who kind of spearheaded the project to get $40 million from the city for affordable housing. And so we consider all of those people stakeholders, and we work directly with them to kind of build up their capacity and make sure that they have the tools that they need to advocate and build up their communities for themselves.
Okay. When you say that there's capacity building, does that mean that you guys also help financially? Is there like grants that are given out to people to try to help their build their capacity?
I actually wanted to ask specifically about that. Spark Capital is the name of the program.
Yeah, and also along with that question is Von Chapman's question: is Spark funded in large part by the Sherwood Foundation? Is this a way that they're able to pass money through from some foundations and organizations to the public through the Spark? What was that you just called it, Buddy? The Spark? You said the Spark Foundation?
It's called Spark Capital is the name of the program.
Right,
and then I also wanted to hear about the plan that you have as far as the strategic plan that you mentioned when you first came on. Forget the name of it, but the things like I forget the name of it, but the Sparks plan to revitalize North Omaha. Definitely love to hear about those two programs.
Are you talking about the North Omaha Recovery Plan? That's not something.
Yes. I couldn't think of the name of it.
Okay, that's not something that's specific to Spark. That's just kind of like what we're calling the LB 1024 money.
Okay.
So yes, but Spark Capital is kind of like the lending arm of Spark CDI, which is just like the regular organization. So we have something called a Developer Academy, and we just closed applications recently, actually. And so hopefully we'll have a whole new cohort of people from the community learning how to develop their communities. But when they do graduate from the Developer Academy and they have all the tools and the knowledge that they need, obviously they need some money and they need some capital to kind of do their projects with. That's a huge part of why it's so hard for ourselves to develop our own communities, because we don't have the capital, we don't have the generational wealth that some of these other families and people do. So we come in and we give gap financing. So we don't give the whole amount, but we do work with banks to help them get a certain amount, and then we come in and we fill in the rest of the gap with that funding. So that's kind of how Spark works with our lending arm. And I think it's a good strategy. I think the whole strategy of us, doing our Developer Academy and having people from the community learn how to do this for themselves and then giving them the money to do it is like, that's how you get down to the root of the problem in my eyes. And in Spark's eyes, obviously, because that's what they do. So what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
The other part of the question I was asking is the recovery plan, but I think there was some confusion with that, because there is LB 1024 in the larger plan that I know Spark isn't responsible for. But I know, speaking to Manny Charles in the past, there is some sort of vision or plan that Spark is. I don't know if they created it, but is a part of that deals with beautification of 24th Street. I'm not sure the name of it. That's what I'm struggling with.
Forever North.
Oh, that's
yes.
right.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, again, just that's what I was referring to.
Yes. So the Forever North plan has already been passed, but it's basically just a plan. And so we got the plan passed by the city, and now it's just a matter of actually doing the development work. So, the new development on 24th and Lake that Carmen Tapio is spearheading, that's a part of Forever North. There's 3 new affordable housing units that someone from our developer academy is developing on 24th in Ohio. And so there's a couple different places that we are doing development work, but it's not exactly us. It's just like what the plan has outlined. We also have, what's that? What's that park? I can't remember what the park is called. The North Omaha Trail. There's like the North Omaha Trail that's almost finished, and there's going to be lots of beautifying and trees planted and all that good kind of stuff. So that's a part of the Forever North plan, and that was really actually spearheaded by Manny Cook. So
right. Who is a part of Spark, right?
Yes.
Right.
So that was kind of my confusion. I thought that was something that Spark was doing, not just Manny.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, you want to add something there?
No, I was just going to say, pretty much everything Manny does is somehow involved with Spark. That's
right.
We only got a few more minutes left with you. There's a bunch of questions, and you got to forgive us. This is the first time that we're being able to get some definitions about what Spark is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to continue. I wanted you to be able to get to what it was you wanted to talk about too, but I also wanted to take this opportunity to help us and help our listeners know what Spark is and what's that all about. So I'm already thinking we're going to have you on again another time, because I want to get to your run for school board and everything else that we have to talk to you about. We'll have to bring you back for that. But before we move on from this subject too, I definitely want to get back to Von Chapman's questions about Spark funded in larger part by the Sherwood Foundation. And also, do you feel that conflicts of interest exist within Spark? There's a lot. We've been talking about this for a while. There's a lot of questions about whether or not the Sherwood Foundation is a part of buying up a whole lot of things in Omaha. And we're wondering if they're doing it through organizations like Spark. It's all about the follow the money part. So first of all, Spark funded in larger part by the Sherwood Foundation?
I think that we get an equal amount of funding from multiple different philanthropies. I don't think Sherwood is like the overwhelming funder. But I mean, like I said, you can go back and look at the public information. But I completely understand the hesitation with the Sherwood Foundation and with the Buffett Foundation and all those foundations, because I had beef and I still have beef with those organizations. Like, I'm not afraid to say that for some of the things that they did in North Omaha.
You have to tell us about some of those sometime.
Yeah, because it's incredibly frustrating, especially when things are so veiled and there's not a lot of communication or transparency. That really bothers me, just as a person, because I was a Black Lives Matter activist before I started doing any of this, and so I understand what the hell is happening with these organizations and what they do, and do they have the community's best interests in mind? That's a good question. But in a position where I am today, I have a bigger say in kind of what happens with that philanthropy money. And I would rather me have a say than me just be kind of like on the outs and stuff. And then I can bring the community along with me and educate them on what is exactly happening and make the process more transparent, because it's not acceptable for the community to feel like outsiders are coming in and buying up their community. Like, that's not okay. And so
But that is what's happening, though, right? That is part of what's going on here, though. That's we can't leave that out of the story, right?
Are they coming in and buying up all the land? I would say not all of the land, but they are buying up land, yes. But they also are giving it back to the community as well.
Yeah, see, I wanted to hear more about that program too at some point. Not this conversation, but at some point, because when we had heard that there were programs out there where they were buying things, fixing those things up, and then leasing, and then selling them back to owners who wanted to come in, and especially like the business properties and stuff, wanted to come in and open a business in some of these places. So I got both coming in my ear. It's they're buying up big swaths of places, holding them. And other places they're fixing them up in order to sell them back, or other places they're partnered with people in order to get people in without having to sell it back. So there's always some questions in it, and of course you don't know the answers to all these questions. We kind of just want to know what's going on through Spark when it comes to some of these organizations. Couple more questions real quick before we let you get out of here too. Wanda Lewis says, does Spark do outreach within the community to ask them what they would like in their communities, or does Spark take the lead? And also, when you were talking about this loan arm of the Spark program, I was wondering about the interest rates too. Interest rates on that stuff, are they fixed, sliding scale? Von Chapman's asking. And also, while we're at it, is Susie Buffett on the board of Spark?
No, Susie Buffett is not on the board. Our interest rates are 1% across the board, fixed. There's no sliding scale. So if you're looking to develop, those are some pretty good interest rates.
Nice
and
rate.
They will be like that forever. So if you want to develop, definitely reach out to us. And then, does Spark do outreach within the community to ask them what they want? Absolutely, yes. So Brittany Parker, or just Bree Parker, there's 2 Brees on the team now.
Golden Glove champ of the world.
Yeah, she's really cool. I don't tell her that because I don't want to blow up her head, but she's really cool. She is the new community development manager, which means she's doing that capacity building with the residents and stuff, and trying to figure out exactly what they need and what they want. And so she's meeting with people, she's doing listening sessions to kind of understand more about what these people want. She's also looking into, models like community investment trust, if you've ever heard of that. And trying to give ownership back to the community, because we don't want Spark to be here forever doing this work. We obviously want the community to be autonomous and for them to be able to do these things themselves. And so she is doing the outreach. I am doing as much outreach as possible when I am developing our policy agenda for 2023. I'm very passionate about making sure the community is involved in the development of our policy agenda, because if they're not, I don't really understand how we can get down to the root of our issues. So, yeah.
With that, definitely talk to Bree for us, and we'd love to have her on and talk about that too. How she goes about the outreach as well. So you pass the message along. We'd love to have her on too, and we'd love to have you back, because we obviously have plenty more to talk about. Our next guest is not quite in yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and steal a couple more few minutes, buddy. I see you got some stuff going. Your wheels turning over there. What you think? What you thinking about?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to mention in regards to, first of all, just please check out their website, because a lot of these questions can be answered on the website and more. So definitely go check out Spark's website. And as far as the outreach, if I'm not mistaken, the Fabric Lab, which is an extension of Spark, they've been having a lot of forums and a lot of things with the community, and passing information to the community. So I definitely feel like Spark, from what I've seen, is doing a good job as far as engaging the community. And I'm curious, and you first came on, you said you wanted to talk about the recovery plan, and I'm curious, where does Spark sit in? And again, you're kind of here because Spark was invited to the table for those stakeholder meetings. So where does Spark stand, and what ideas does Spark have for that money?
Mm-hmm. Spark is more like a support role in all of this. And then, hopefully we might be applying for some funding to help with affordable housing and getting through our developer academy. So we would apply for the funding for a developer academy and then give that money out to the emerging developers that way. So that's kind of how we see ourselves working personally. But we are also involved with the plan just as a support mechanism for other organizations, and kind of just making sure that we're all on the same page. So our projects do complement each other, especially when we're all kind of working in the same place in North Omaha. So yeah, just making sure that we're all on the same page, keeping tabs and stuff. And from what I understand, those meetings last week, I wasn't able to be there because I was actually in a training all week long in Lincoln about public participation and how to be good stewards of public participation as a nonprofit. So that's where I was last week. So I couldn't be at the meetings, unfortunately. But from what I understand, the people who were at those meetings, the stakeholders who were at those meetings, were the people who are probably going to be applying for the funds. And it was a matter of like getting them all in the same place so they can be on the same page and help each other out with their projects and make sure that nothing is like redundant or two people aren't applying for the same thing. Like if two people who work with the same populations in the same place have a similar idea, why can't they come together and collaborate? That's what the purpose of those meetings were, from my understanding, which is why it wasn't necessarily from open to the general public. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I'd like to see more things open to the general public, for sure.
And I think they're having open meeting September 19th or something like that. I can't remember the exact day, but they will have it. And that better not be the last time that they have a meeting open to the general public. Like it can't be a one and done thing. So
no, hopefully not. Hopefully not. And I did want to clarify that was why I personally was so adamant about defining who are these stakeholders really, because as you mentioned, this is something that these people were invited to, these meetings. So those who are invited to these meetings, as you say, are probably going to be the ones applying for the money. So let's make sure everyone has an opportunity to apply, which is why I want to applaud you for, like you said, being a voice to make sure the cameras and the precious are also at the table as well. So yeah, definitely. Thank you.
And just for you in general doing the good work and being a part of everything that's going on here, we definitely need more young people involved in the way that you have been involved in this. When I'm talking to people out in the field, I'm always saying that, like, you got to check out what Bree doing, because she's a shining example of young folks getting involved with everything going on in the neighborhoods. You're from North Omaha, right?
I'm from all around Omaha. I was in foster care, so I was in a couple different placements around Omaha. But yes, I lived in North Omaha for a while.
Yeah. So just being in touch with the place that you're living in and the place that you're from, and wanting to see that do better and do more.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. One last question about Spark before I want to kind of just cool it down off of Spark. What does Spark have to do with front porch investments? And isn't Susie on that board? Are you guys partnered with them at all?
I don't know if Susie is on that board. She very well could. We do partner with Front Porch Investments. We partner with like basically every housing entity in Nebraska, not just Omaha, like Nebraska. And that's kind of how we got that $40 million in funding from the city. FPI, or Front Porch Investments, is kind of the face of that. But ultimately, that money will be going out to a ton of different housing entities around Omaha. So,
Won't Habitat be getting some of that as well, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. So I remember. Okay, I remember that breakdown. Okay. I have a bunch of more questions coming to mind now. Now we can definitely get into like affordable housing, like specific strategies, and maybe some affordable housing projects that Spark might be considering or thinking about. But yeah, we can start cooling it down off of Spark.
Yeah, let's come back. Let's bring you back another time so we can do more of this. You can kind of break down what's going on, because I like to hear more about Fabric Lab and stuff too. So so definitely. And then of course we need to talk about your run, because really what's going on here is the election is coming up here very soon. Right, very, very soon. But we've talked about enough business. Just let's talk for a second about you. And do you ever do anything fun? Because it seems like all you do. Every time I hit you up, I'm like, what you got going on? Oh, I got a rally to go to. I got this. I got that. So what have you been doing to decompress at all? What's your self-care routine or something?
I love hanging out with my dog. So taking her on walks, taking her to the dog park or something. I do that a lot.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, I don't have a ton of free time nowadays, but hopefully that'll change after November 8th, because doing this work and running for office at the same time is obviously a busy thing, a lot to do.
Yeah.
So, but I try to be, around my friends as much as possible. But, it's really nice working at Spark because like some of my very best friends work there. And so it's just like working with your friends basically. Or my friends come to the Fabric Lab all the time and we're just hanging out, So, even though Spark is work, it doesn't always feel like that, which is why I work there. It's good work-life balance, I think. So, but yeah, I try to take care of my dog and hang out with her and hang out with my friends, and that's about all I can do.
That's great.
Paul's not a big dog fan. He's not.
Dude, so I'm just messing with you.
You call him beast of the field around here.
Let me ask you this question too. Aside from Fabric Lab, aside from Spark, aside from even your run, what would you personally like to see? Like when you're walking up and down the street, when you're going down to Idle Vital to get you a juice, what do you want to see? Just personally in the area.
I'd like to see more business and less nonprofits, especially on North 24th Street. I'd really like to see that be a more business district more than anything else. Like, of course, North Omaha culture is extremely important, and I think that's a big part of North 24th Street. But we really need to get that economic vitality going, so the community is just like doing their own thing, and they don't have to ask anybody for grants or whatever. Like, people just need to be able to live, and they can't do that without good jobs and good small businesses and all these things. And now that you mentioned Idle Vital, like I'm definitely going to stop there today. So thanks for reminding me.
I'll get you some juice, but I definitely agree. I agree. I think somebody asked the question, is 24th, and I guess maybe you might have some information on this, as Spark and Fabric Lab is on 24th. Is it considered a cultural district? Is it a art district? Is it a business district?
What are you talking about? 24th and Lake?
Yeah. 24th area.
It's a nonprofit district. That's all it is, right?
That's nonprofit alley. That's what it is.
So that's why I want to know. So you're saying you need more business, but tell me what specific business you would like to, like. What would you frequent if there was something like when you're walking up and down the street, you're like, man, I wish I could buy a sandwich. Like,
I want some restaurants and some, like, not just sandwich shops, like nice 5-star restaurants or something like that. Like, why haven't we got any of those around here? I don't understand that. I'd love to just go and like get all dressed up and look nice and step out and go to a nice restaurant and then go to like a theater or, some type of, art show or something. Like,
right there on the
that
Deuce.
sounds fun to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't mind some fine dining, old school Mr. C's thing happening on the Deuce. That'd be dope.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, that's what's up. I mean, that's what I will start asking that question to everybody too, like especially on the Deuce. What is it that people want to see happening on the Deuce? We all complain that it's kind of a nonprofit alley right there that's going on, which is cool. There's activity, there's things happening, there's money being raised. There is art on the corner because of the union. But yeah, man, whenever I'm gonna go down, if I'm going to not spend any money on the Deuce, I'm going down to Idle Vital and getting my drugs over there because that's what it is. Like drugs, man. I gotta have them juices.
I always say this is probably like a terrible thing to say, but I'm a slave to Idle Vital. I go there at a time. That's not a
That's
great
real.
Yeah.
word to
Big
use,
shout
but
out to
it's the
money.
truth. Yeah.
There's nothing better on a hot day. Nothing more refreshing on a hot day than I will drive clear across town to go get it.
And it's right next to Dreamland Park, so you can just like get your juice and go sit at the park and just
hang
chill
out.
Nice green space.
Sometimes there's music there. It's like, and then you have experiences like that, and it's like you can see the potential of the Deuce and like everything that it can be. It's just you got to give it time, you got to give it resources, you got to give it money, and you got to get them nonprofits out of there. So
there you go.
There you go.
Where's the best wings in Omaha?
I already told y'all this.
Did you?
Oscars. It's in West Omaha though.
That's why I don't remember what you told me because
You gotta get it delivered to you because you ain't need to go up there.
You're supposed to say Carol Blood's house. You already know what it is.
I ain't even had her wings before. I don't actually know. So
we're gonna have to let her. She claims they're the best ones in Omaha, so we're going to have to see what's up. Juana Lewis, Spark is a nonprofit. It is that's a question, right?
It is.
Rose Review said a bread store, a butcher shop. Man, who lives like that? I don't know. I ain't been to a bread store or a butcher shop since the 70s, bro. Like, who does that anymore?
You're missing out, man. You missing out. I actually enjoy a nice bread store and
I take that back. When I was living in Paris, I lived right next to a bread store. And
you get the good bread. You get the good bread, freshly baked.
Bread in Paris.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those baguettes was ridiculous.
Man. We can talk about food all day though. Yeah, we can talk about food all day.
We need a bakery. We need all that.
Yeah. Grocery store.
Donut shop, something grocery store, exactly. Yeah.
A grocery store. Shoot.
We want all these things, but can the neighborhood sustain it? Would people come shop at it? All these is there enough money? Do we have jobs in the area where there's enough money for you to have discretionary funds to go buy a baguette and some donuts?
Right.
In the neighborhood? Would anybody else in the rest of the city come to our neighborhood for such things, like they go to Blackstone, like they go to Benson? Lots to do before we can get to the point where somebody can just open up a simple bagel shop and make it work. So hopefully all these nonprofits that are on the block can do more to help the situation, to grow some kind of business and wealth district over there. That would be ideal. And housing around the area for people to have some neighborhoods to live in, to be able to walk to these places. So
now's a chance.
Keep on with the good work. We know that you're helping in the way that you're trying. That's right, and we appreciate you. And we'll definitely have to have you come back and talk more about all of these things, including your run and everything that's going on for sure. So yeah,
for sure. I'd love to come back anytime.
Right on. Thanks for coming. It was good to see you.
Yeah. No problem. I mean, this is exactly. You're saying like, I know you want to talk about what you want to talk about. This is exactly what I want to talk about. Like, I want to make sure that the community is getting their questions answered, especially when it comes to Spark, because we all know that it's not easy to be trusting of, a new organization who's coming in and doing development work and stuff. So this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Well, good. I'm glad we
appreciate that.
Yeah. Right on. Well, we'll talk more soon. So you have a good one. Have a good day. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
All right. Peace.
All
right. That's what's up.
All right. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Brief Fool.
We'll take a quick break. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B.
In the morning.
Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, thanks for all of your questions. Hope that we got a lot of answers answered. That'd be great. Thanks for everybody who's on YouTube too that's chiming in. Appreciate that. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Is there a delay, or were you just late on your in the morning? Is there a delay?
I think there's a delay. Yeah, because you're talking very fast.
Okay.
Might be an internet thing. Yeah, I think it's fine now, but yeah, I think it was an internet thing coming out of break.
Everybody who chimed into the chat, appreciate you. Yeah, Miss E, you got me thinking about a bakery too now. I remember that the fresh baguettes I used to live next to. Mama Guy says, I'm concerned about more retail in North Omaha when my deodorant has to be in a locked case at Walmart.
It's a good point. Yeah. The deodorant and cologne and stuff is in the lock case in Walmart.
They were still in that. Somebody needs to steal some smell. If somebody needs to steal some smell good, you might need to go on and let them steal it. If it's all
let them have it. Just let them have it.
We used to call deodorant Funk Fighter, and smell good. You gotta need some smell good that bad. Go on and get it. Waterloo says that part, but yeah, it is concerning because of course when you're in areas where there's low rates of pay or no jobs. Then you're gonna have more crime. You have more people, 5-finger discount and stuff. So it is what it is. Up the wages, up the poverty level, and then you can have businesses that are a little bit safer that way. So first things first, we gotta get some jobs and get some things happening in the area where people have a living wage and beyond, can build some wealth, have some discretionary funds, and so on and so forth. Not just struggling all the time, every day.
Yeah, and not just retail spots. About where are the dental offices in North Omaha? Where can you go get life insurance in North Omaha? Yeah, those types of things are also what I'm thinking about, and what will entice those types of businesses to open up in the community.
Very true. Like Diamond in the house, what's up? He said 24th needs a music venue with indoor and outdoor space and some sit down restaurants.
I think that is a part of the Forever North plan. There was some talk early on. I actually remember going. I don't know if you remember going to those meetings at North. They had a few meetings they would have at North when they're developing that Forever North plan. Yep. And that is a part of it. Kind of in the 24th and Lake area, there's a plan or a vision for some sort of music venue. But again, it can't just be that. It can't just be a bunch of retail spaces and restaurants and music venues.
I mean,
because if you build that, will the people come?
Well, that's the to me, we need to start like infrastructure stuff first. Like I feel like we need industry. I feel like we need the food growing thing we were talking about, the indoor hydroponic, places where you can grow food and export food. We need industries. I'm anxious to see what's going to happen over here at the airport with this land. We just they just approved another TIF fund.
Yeah.
For and actually, I remember brother Terrell McKinney and them were talking about the land, part of that 450 million or 300 million, whatever, is going to go to an area over to develop some land over by the airport in order to have an industry type space there. And now all of a sudden we're getting reports that there's been some TIF funding that's been approved for over there. So I'm wondering what that is. First of all, before we get to it though, Portia Cavett in the chat, what's going on? Good morning to you. Thank you for coming on. She says, need some smell good? Stop by Claire Methodist for a personal hygiene pack. I like that.
Hey, get them right. Shout out to Pastor P. Definitely check out Claire Methodist.
Also need a grocery store as a food desert too. Wanda Lewis is saying for sure. Some kind of infrastructure stuff. But anyway, you want to jump into that story real quick with the property over by the airport?
Yeah, I did have that right in front of me. I'm gonna break it down because this is another TIF project, but this might be something that's actually, first of all, in North Omaha, but something that could definitely help. Well, not necessarily North Omaha, but could definitely help an industrial building set to rise at 13th and 4th Streets. Will get $1.2 million in tax increment financing after the Omaha City Council unanimously approved the request Tuesday. Developers are proposing a 66,000 square foot industrial building at the 4.1 acre site, which is currently vacant. The building would have 14 leasable bays, each about 4,700 square feet. And also the space would rent for between $6.50 to $10.50 per square foot. Construction is expected to begin this year and actually will wrap up in June of 2023. The total cost of the project is $6.3 million, and the business likely would occupy 5 of the 14 bays. Developer Josh Hannum said he intends to move his business in there, A United, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a like a moving or a storage company.
Okay. So bays, this is not a big industry move here. This is going to have a whole bunch of different businesses in it.
Yeah. This is I imagine it would be something similar to what you see with the Mastercraft building.
Okay. Miss E says that's high rent.
Yeah, and I did kind of I did want to do the math on that. Again, 4,700 square feet, each unit at $6.50 per unit.
Just in Mavon Champion said, just in time for AB 1024. I need more information.
You need more information?
I do. I don't know about this now. No.
Yeah, that's 30,550
that's high rent
at the low end.
Although I will say, what did you say, six something a square foot?
$650 per square foot. Between $650 and $1050 per square foot.
In the business world, that's pretty cheap for square footage for commercial business space. But still, that's pretty high rent for the area, I think. Mama God is asking, I thought the female development group is doing something with the indoor garden at Highlander, community sustainable garden opportunity. Was that group doing something over there? I remember we reported that somebody was doing something there. I didn't know it was the same. You talking about the development group that's doing the thing over there on 24th and Lake with
It was reported that there was going to be some movement finally after 3 years with the Highlander greenhouse. I'm not 100%. I'm gonna have to kind of look back into that. I'm not 100% sure who was behind that, but yes, I did hear that there was supposed to be something done with that greenhouse.
Yeah, we did. I reported on. I can't remember for the life of me who was supposed to be behind that. We'll have to look back into it, but we haven't seen any movement yet.
I want to say Front Porch Investments, but I'm not sure.
No, I don't know if it was Front Porch.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll go back and look. Black Dynamite in the house says, absolutely, it needs more than just restaurants and venues. Paul hit it nail on the head. With needing industry, making people want and need to come to the area. Yeah, I definitely think so. Miss E says, you know that they throw the low number out, but no one seems to get that. If you need build out, it will be the $10, and I bet you'll need to pay towards the build out. Yeah. There's other things to consider for that for sure. But I'm trying to wonder who's even going to take up some of these bays in this thing. Like what kind of businesses could be in there? A lot of times they won't. They start talking about building something because they have some promises from companies that are already going to rent some of these spaces out. I'd like to see bigger industry happen. I don't want to do just another business complex. There's, we'll see. Rose Review says the business park will be to support the airport, aircraft storage, plane parts distributors, maybe baggage claim resale. I can see that happening. I can see a lot of airport, business things that are spawned off from the airport that might happen in that area. Don't anybody in our community that has that kind of business. Don't know where those businesses would be coming from, but we'll see. Wanda Lewis says, we need commercial structures in the production field that will create many jobs for community and residents that live in it. It does us no justice when they hire outside of the community. That's part of the problem too. Yeah, that's why I want to see bigger industries pieces happen in North Omaha where we can you can hire 50 to 100 people and with above average, above living wages. That's the only way you're going to get some growth. As a matter of fact, here's Von Chapman says, whatever business that goes in that project will need to be overcapitalized for a number of years because of costs will be forever escalating. So another thing to consider for sure. The startup period is, we're trying to write our 3-year plan right now, but you're going to write a 6-year plan when it comes to the prices are so high and going up for anything that you do over there. So and we've been talking to too many people that not have heard about some industries or businesses that are looking at coming to North Omaha. I only heard of one. I'm not even going to talk about who it is, but like I've literally only heard of one business that's trying to come into North Omaha that would bring enough jobs and enough pay for people in those jobs to make some real difference and real change. I'm not hearing about nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, what even industries could we look at? Again, we talked about agriculture and food. We
number one for me. Number one is that part.
Okay. Is it viable, or we know that Omaha is a telecommunications? I know that there is a telecommunications center that's coming to North Omaha. Is it big enough for the level that we're talking about? And if not, can we talk about sending some funds to make it bigger, or
there's one in North Omaha already. Tapio owns a telecommunications call center. There's one. And she's winning all kinds of awards all over the country for being one of the biggest,
fastest growing,
and she has the biggest company is as far as hiring people from the community than any other company. But it's still not enough as well. It's $15 an hour. It's just it's still there needs to be bigger situation happening. Plus, I wouldn't have thought that anybody opening up a call center in 2022 is the thing anymore. That was kind of like I got family members that made their money in the 80s and 90s on the call centers.
And that's what I'm asking. Again, Omaha has been a telecommunication, but it kind of asked the question on Monday with our job. Like, is that the direction that we're going, or should it be more data centers and coding and things like that? But are the skills in North Omaha to have entice those types of businesses, or what is needed to entice those types of businesses? Because we do know. Pardon itself. We do know that Google and Facebook have data centers out west. Is it out of a stretch of imagination to have a satellite campus on North Omaha, or in North Omaha? What would that look like? What do we need to entice those types of things? So yeah, I would definitely love to hear more than just the one or two industries that we have heard.
9:01. We're already running late. This has been a very, very good and deep conversation. Appreciate everybody in the chat. We'll have to pick up this another time. Definitely go back to the chat if you watch the show a little later on the day. Also dig into the chat and see what's being said there. Lots of stuff going on. So no Kimara Snipes today. Unfortunately, we had a mix-up, and she hit me on the text, and there's just try to explain why there's a mix-up here. But no matter, we'll have her back soon. We might even have her on Friday so that we can get her segment rolling and talk about what's going on in the neighborhoods. In the meantime, between time, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. But thanks so much for everybody in this discussion. As you can see, we got much more to discuss, especially about this subject here. Definitely go back and look at the show and check out the chats so you can see what's been talked about there. Shout out to Briana Full for coming on through. Shout out to Precious McKesson as well. Politicin with P is always a good time on this Women's Wednesday of First Sky Omaha. Fresh episode right here on the 24th of August. Already coming up to September. Man. So yeah, man, it's going down. Keep on talking. We'll continue the chat over on Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you're not a friend of First Sky Omaha, go to the group page on Facebook and join. And I will have lots more conversations over there. Until then, we'll see you Friday. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, a big shout out to Precious McKesson and Briana Fool for stopping through and speaking with us this morning. We appreciate y'all. Also appreciate everyone chiming into the chat. Our frequent chat chimers, maybe some new names that we've seen or may not see as frequently. We appreciate y'all. Also a reminder that there is a parole hearing for Ernest Jackson coming up. A big shout out to the person dropping that link in the chat earlier. September 13th, I believe, is the day for his parole hearing. So if you'd like to join the mission, join the movement to send Ernest home, definitely check it out, facebook.com/send Ernest home to get involved with those efforts. Also, a reminder, a big shout out, let's band together and help and support Sister E, Miss E, who is dealing with some health issues and will be sidelined, will not be able to work. And we are looking for people to help with this meal train. Again, due to her surgery, she will not be able to move around and cook and provide for herself as she's used to. So again, anyone that has it in their heart to help and want to assist with that, you can do so with the meal train. We just posted the link in the chat, so definitely check that out. But yeah, other than that, Paul B, take it away.
Yep. I want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land in the first place and speak while we're here. I want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. Thanks to all of you in the chat that have had some really well thought out comments and discussion and was part of the discussion today. Really appreciate that. Please share this. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Share the show on your page. And any more conversations we can do in between the shows, we'll do over on Friends of First Sky Omaha. So please hit that up as well. Thanks to the Weberized crew over there with Star Trek Rich, always having our back. Thanks for the whole squad who's getting down with us. Really appreciate that. Thank you for everybody who is a reoccurring member of the channel as well. Can't really do it without your donation, so really appreciate that. We have $10 members, $25 members, $50 members. Become a member of First Sky Omaha and the channel, and there'll be more perks to come as we tighten up and do a lot more with this channel going forward. So go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button, become a reoccurring member of the channel, and we really appreciate that. In the meantime, between time, we will see you Friday. Thank you so much for hanging with us this whole time. You guys take care of yourselves. Drink water, watch your money, do all the stuff that Miss E always says for us to do. Did I miss her out? Let's see. She says, thanks, First Guy, for your kind donations. Yeah, no problem at all, of course. And yes, Mama God, I got your ticket. I got your ticket again. Shoot me your email address. I'll shoot that link to you so you can get that ticket and all that good stuff for American Sun. That's firing back up Thursday. It'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Benson Theater. I'm going to try to make it a Thursday show for me. A couple other folks will meet up there. So a little First Sky hang at American Sun starting at 7 o'clock Thursday night. Yep. So I appreciate that. If you guys can make it, that'd be great. I definitely have tickets for you. Just hit me up with your email address so we can make that happen. In the meantime, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Sorry for being so late. The time got away from us. The conversation got too good. And that's how it works sometimes. But anyway, we'll see you Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the Red